Hey, what's up YouTubers, and welcome back to another Toddy Walnuts collection overview video. Today we're going to go through the horror VHS movies I have in my collection. I just went through and organized. I think I have everything in alphabetical order for the most part. So we're going to be starting here with the cardboard slip boxes, and then we will transition over to this side, get into some of these smaller clamshells with the clear plastic case, and then we'll get into the bigger black clamshells here, and then some of the VHS big boxes at the end. So get yourselves relaxed, get a beverage, get a snack, kick your feet up, light a candle, get a blankie, and let's go through the VHS horror movies in my collection. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you see anything that interests you, I hope you write it down and pick it up for your collection. If you see anything that I'm missing that I need to grab, leave a comment below with a suggestion. Always like to hear from you guys. So first one is Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt in 12 Monkeys. Next one is a James Cameron movie called The Abyss. This was the first release of it, and this is a second release. Same movie, just two different covers. Next one is called The Alchemist. This one is like a documentary. It's called Alien Autopsy, Fact or Fiction, hosted by Jonathan Frakes. Next one is the original, the Amityville Horror. Excellent movie, scared me when I was a kid. Next one's called Angel of the Night. Oops, that was put out by Fangoria. Here's a movie starring Bela Lugosi, the Ape Man. The Blair Witch Project. Possibly one of the most overrated movies ever. And this is a two-tape set of the Blair Witch. You also get a documentary called The Curse of the Blair Witch that comes with it, so you get two tapes in that edition. Angelina Jolie and Denzel Washington in The Bone Collector. Snoop Dogg, Bones. What does that sticker say? Includes a Snoop Dogg music video exclusive concert footage. Here's Brain Dead. Ed Wood's Bride of the Monster, starring Bela Lugosi and Tor Johnson. The Butcher Boy. This was from I think it was a Hollywood video. This was a previewed, used VHS tape. Next one is called Carnage. There's Children of the Corn. I believe this was the first release, and this was the re-release. Same movie, just two different covers. Here's Child's Play. And Child's Play 2. This one has some damage on it. I bought this one used at a thrift shop, and it has black marker on the front and on the back. I think I paid 50 cents for that. And I have Bride of Chucky. Chucky Gets Lucky. This one's kind of rare. This is called The Clown Murders. This was one of the, I think this was the very first movie John Candy was ever in. He plays a bit role in this movie. And the last one for the first shelf is Creature from the Black Lagoon, the original. Shelf 2, we have a sequel to the Creature from the Black Lagoon. This one's called The Creature Walks Among Us. Next one is Critters 3. I love these little fur balls. I should get the rest of these on VHS. I've kind of slowed down on picking up VHS, and if I see them for a reasonable price at a thrift shop or a rummage sale, I'll grab them, but I'm not going to go out of my way to look for some of these. But for certain ones like Critters, I may pick them up on eBay just to grab them because they're kind of hard to find. The next one is called The Curse of Frankenstein, starring Peter Cushing. These were the Hammer movies. These were kind of the, I guess, competition for the Universal monsters in the US. I'm just going to put this off to the side and give myself a little breathing room here to move. Next one is Night of the Demons 2. And Demon Knight. Tales from the Crypt. Here's the original Dracula. And then here's the Frank Langella Dracula from the 70s. This one's called Embryo. Eyes of Laura Mars. So some of these are a little bit out of alphabetical order, and that's because this is the franchise in order, so they don't go alphabetically, but this is the Night of the Living Dead from 1968. And then the sequel, Dawn of the Dead, 1978. And Day of the Dead. That was the original trilogy. Here's another Day of the Dead, just a different cover. I really love that cover. Take a look again at this one. I like this one a little bit better. You can see Bub on the cover. Next one's called The Dead Don't Die. Dracula. I don't know why this one's over here. I guess that these are a little bit out of order. Should be back over by this one. Actually, slide it in between here. So we have two different covers of Dracula. So we have The Evil of Frankenstein. It's another Hammer movie, starring Peter Cushing, and the Universal Frankenstein. Here's another cover. Same movie. They call this one the restored version. I cleaned it up a little bit. Here's Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell. This is another Hammer movie. Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. Galaxy of Terror. Godzilla. And the last one for shelf 2 is called The Gorgon, starring Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. Shelf number 3. We have Halloween with this nice lenticular where you can see the shape, and then the jack-o'-lantern with the knife. Hatchet for the Honeymoon. Haunted, I really like Kate Beckinsale. I have a little crush on her. Here's Haunts, starring Cameron Mitchell, Aldo Ray. I have a couple of the Hellraiser movies, just the first 3 on VHS. Here's the original. And part 2, Hellbound. And part 3, Hell on Earth. House of Frankenstein. House on Haunted Hill. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. I have a couple of Interview with the Vampire. One's still factory sealed. It was a Best Buy purchase at one point, but I bought this at a thrift shop. The Invisible Man Returns. Jacob's Ladder. I have a couple of The Lawnmower Man. The Lost Boys. Love Object. Here's Stephen King's Misery. The Mummy. Same movie, just a different cover. And this is a different mummy. This is the Hammer mummy. The previous 2, those are the Universal mummy. And the last one for this shelf is called the Mummy's Curse. Shelf number 4. And we're sticking with the mummy theme that we ended off shelf 3 with. This is the Mummy's Ghost. The Mummy's Hand. These are great covers. And the Mummy's Tomb. H.P. Lovecraft's Necronomicon, The Book of the Dead. This one has a little damage on the bottom. Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror. Great movie. Here is The Offspring, also known as From a Whisper to a Scream. Stephen King's Pet Sematary, great movie. Heartbreaking. That little boy Gage. Here's Phantasm 2. He's a tall man. Angus Scrimm, great movie. And what is this? Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead. The Phantom of the Opera. Vin Diesel in Pitch Black. Poltergeist. It's Prom Night. Here's Prom Night 4, Deliver Us from Evil. Never seen that one before. Have to check that out at some point. Here's a good creature feature called Q, the Winged Serpent. See if I can slide this back in or it's gonna bug me. The next one's called Quicksilver Highway, the vampire movie. Here's Raising Cain, John Lithgow. Here's Revenge of the Creature. This movie's called Zeter, also known as Revenge of the Dead. You can see at one point this was a half-price books purchase for $4. I think I bought it for a quarter, maybe 50 cents. Here's Rosemary's Baby. You guys know how I feel about that movie. Not very good. Here's Rumpelstiltskin. This was a former Hollywood video rental. That one's kind of hard to find. And the next one is called Sanitarium. Excellent movie here called Saw. The first movie was great. I mean, they're all pretty fun, but the first one was a brand new idea. It was excellent, very well done. And the last one for shelf 4 is Scream. Shelf number 5. We've got a couple more Screams. This is Scream 2. And there's another Scream Part 1. One of them was opened, one of them was still sealed. I pick them up when they're a quarter. I don't care if I have doubles of them. I can always trade them or gift them to somebody. Next one is called See No Evil, starring Mia Farrow. Great police chasing a killer movie called Seven. It's a great movie. Everybody has seen this. I think that's Brad Pitt's best role. He's a pretty good actor. There's a movie called Shadow Builder. There's a lenticular cover. You can see the demon that pops out. Next one is called She Demons. This one's hosted by Elvira. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. Here's Johnny. And I think this was the first release here, and then this was a later release. Same movie, just two different covers. The Silence of the Lambs. The Skull. Sleepy Hollow. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. This is the one with Jeff Goldblum. Soul Keeper. This is another lenticular. Let's see if we can kind of look down the throat here of the demon and see a screaming face inside the mouth. Next one's called Stakes, a vampire movie. Stephen King's The Stand. This is a 2-tape set. Tail Sting, creature feature insect movie. Here's a horror comedy called Terror Tunes. This one has David Carradine in it, I believe. No, David Carradine is not in this one. Another Stephen King movie called Thinner. Tremors. These are pretty fun movies. First one was the best one to me, in my opinion. Next one is called The Truth About Demons. This was a Blockbuster rental. It says youth restricted viewing, must be 17 or older. Urban Legend. Village of the Damned. So let's see, there's a couple different stickers on this one. First one there was a half-price books for $3.98. And at one point, I don't know who was selling it for $7. Werewolf of London. And the last one for this shelf is called Who is the Terror? Movie from 1963 starring Boris Karloff, Jack Nicholson, directed by Roger Corman. All right, getting down here to the bottom shelf. First one is called The Witches. Next one's The Wolf Man. Visiting Hours. This was also a previously viewed movie you can buy. I don't know where this came from. I got it at a thrift shop, but I don't know who sold that at one time. One of the rental stores. So now this next little segment here, these are all my Friday the 13th movies. So the first one is part 1. These are This is an alternate cover for part 1 from 1980. And here's the cover we all know and love, the original theatrical poster for part 1. You can see the little camp counselors in the shape of Mrs. Voorhees. She's the killer in part 1. And yes, that is Pamela Voorhees' silhouette, that's not Jason. And here is the original first pressing of the first movie. So all 3 of those that I just showed were the same movie, just different covers. And here's part 2. This is the first pressing, the first release of part 2. And then it was re-released. Oh, almost dropped it. Almost dropped it. Here's part 3. Oh, almost dropped it again. What's going on here? Part 3 in 3D. It's part 4, the final chapter. Here's part 5, New Beginning. Part 6, Jason Lives. This is a good one. This is probably, I think this took over my #1 spot, I think, for my favorite Friday the 13th movie. It was 4 for a long time, and I still love part 4. But part 6, this one has really grown on me over the years. I really enjoy that one. I'd be curious to hear what you guys' favorite Friday the 13th is. Here's another one, part 6. This was a former rental. You can see the stickers on there. Here's part 7, The New Blood. This one is probably my least favorite. They try to use like psychic, kinetic energy to defeat Jason. Here's part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Here's 9, Jason Goes to Hell. And I got a few of part 10, when Jason goes into space. When I go out to a rummage sale or a thrift shop and I see a Friday the 13th movie and it's like $1 or less, I'll grab it. I don't care if I have 2 or 3 of them already. And I think this one is still factory sealed. This one is still factory sealed, but I also did put it in a plastic case too. So that one's still new and never opened. Here's Freddy vs. Jason. And this last one is part 12. And this never had an official VHS release. This came out way after VHS had even had stopped being manufactured. But this was a fan-made VHS tape. So I grabbed it. It's actually, the movie's actually on this tape, and he made the box and everything, and I thought this was beautiful. It was perfect. So this was not an official release. VHS was already gone to the wayside by the time this movie came out in 2009. But some guy made it, and I'm glad to have it to put it along on the shelf with all the rest of these movies. So that's the last shelf for this bookcase. I'm gonna pause it, get something to drink, and then we're gonna meander over to this shelf over here. Okay, so the first one here is a Nightmare on Elm Street box set. And let's see, I suppose I can pull them out one by one here. Let me give myself a little room. Let's see if I can slide these out. So these, you can see that when they're all together in the box, you can see Freddy's shape holding his arms out. And we'll take them out. These are alternate covers. I'll show you what the originals look like here in a minute. But that's part 1. Put that off to the side just for a minute so I can move these. Here's part 2, Freddy's Revenge. Part 3, Dream Warriors. Part 4, The Dream Master. I'm kind of at an awkward angle here. So part 5 is The Dream Child. Part 6 is The Final Nightmare. And part 7 is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So I'll put this one back in. So it's a nice little box set. And here's what the original looked like. That's the original poster art for part 1. That is a great cover right there. And I have part 2. Part 3, Freddy's Revenge. And I have a couple more part 3s. And another part 3. This is the original part 3. It had a hype sticker on there that says includes the hit music video Dokken Dream Warriors. This was put up by Media. And here's part 4. You can see that somebody wrote with a marker, Bodine or Bodine something. And here's another part 4. Here's a part 5, the Dream Child. Here's the Final Nightmare. Here's another Final Nightmare. And here is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Slide this back in here, if I can get it. There we go. So these are the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies now. And this is one cover. This is from 1974, the original TCM. This is the most rare. Well, this is actually the second most rare. This is the one that was put out by Media. The one that was put out by Charles Band. That one's hard to find. It's very, very expensive. But so is this one too. You can get this one in this condition that I have here. This is probably about a $100 tape. And this one is also an original. This is probably one of the more affordable ones for the original, but this is going up in price now too. And then here's part 2 on Media. I need to get a better copy of this. This one's in good shape. It just has a little sun damage to the front. It's a little faded. It's supposed to be that blue color there on the spine. But you can see how it's kind of faded a little bit. And then here's part 3, Leatherface, original uncut classic. So sliding down to the next shelf, I have the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is the one with Jessica Biel, Arlie Ermey. This is really good. These are both, it's both the same movie and they're both factory sealed. Then I have, we're moving in now to the plastic clamshell cases that are clear. These are a little bit smaller than the black clamshells that we're going to get into in a little bit. But this one is the Brain. This one's called Final Caller. This was a crowd-funded movie from Todd Sheets, and I contributed to the cause, and I got a VHS tape here that was signed by cast and crew. Glad to have this. I was glad to be part of the project. Really enjoy Todd Sheets' movies. Here's Frankenhooker, starring the gorgeous Patty Mullen. She's still gorgeous today. She might be better looking today than she was back then. I'm not even joking about that. She's absolutely stunning. Here's The Return of the Living Dead. There's a Hammer movie called Reptile, The Reptile. This one is called The Severed Head Network, Volume 2, signed by Eric Stanzi. I got number 97 out of 150. This was put out by SRS Cinema. Glad to have that one. Next one's called Street Trash. Kind of a splatter flick. I know you guys know that one. Here's another one from SRS Cinema. This is called The Undertow. This one's number 44 out of 100. And the last one for these little plastic shells. This is The Video Dead. So we will slide now into the black clamshell cases. So the first one is called Color Me Blood Red. This is a Herschel Gordon Lewis movie. This was limited to 50. I got number 43. Next one's called Day of the Reaper. Dead Silence. I got number 6 out of 100. Detroit Driller Killer. I got number 23 out of 25. I also have this on Blu-ray. This is a pretty good movie. I enjoy these shot-on-video movies. A lot of people don't, but I really like them. I think they're pretty good. Here's one called Don't Go in the Woods. I think this was put out by, oh, it was. I was going to say, I think it's Vinegar Syndrome, but it is. You can see the logo there in the bottom left. That sold out pretty quick. Next one's called Frames of Fear. I got number 22 out of 25. The Garden Tool Massacre. Gore Girls. I got number 25 out of 50. Gorgasm. I got number 15 out of 100. Gore Whore. I got number 51 out of 150. And the next one is called Gorotica. I got number 59 out of 150. Next one is called Grindsploitation, the movie. I got number 11 out of 30. Let's see. The Great Yokai War Guardians. It's a Japanese kind of a creature feature type movie. 10 out of 50. Harvest of the Dead. I got number 21 out of 25. The House on Cuckoo Lane. Here's a double feature. Zombies, the Beginning and Island of the Living Dead. Very heavy tape. I got number 14 out of 50. Here's Little Cory Gory. I got number 25 out of 25. Barely snuck in there at the end. This one's called Live Feed, the unrated director's cut. I got number 11 out of 25. This one's called Pazicus, Island of Vomit and Despair. I got number 10 out of 15. Very gruesome, gory, grotesque movie. Here's The Pumpkin Man. I also have this on Blu-ray. This was put out by Scream Team Releasing. Pretty fun Halloween movie. And And here is Sex Squatch double feature, part 1 and 2. I got number 3 out of 26. So that will conclude that shelf. I have one more to go, and we will wrap it up. I also have this Faces of Death that I forgot to show. Banned in 46 countries. So now we will get into the last shelf down here. We have a couple more, or a few more of the black clamshells, and then we'll get into the VHS big boxes. And I realize that I'm missing a lot of classics. This is not really the greatest VHS collection. This is more or less just things I've been picking up over the last couple of years when I see them at flea markets or garage sales or thrift shops. I don't really actively search for VHS just for the simple fact that a lot of them are pretty expensive now and they take up a lot of space. So you can tell that I'm missing a lot of classics that a horror fan should have in his collection, but I'm not really that hard down to collect VHS. If I see them, I'll grab them. If not, there may be a couple that I search for, but not too many. So the next one is called She Kills. This is a good one. This is kind of a revenge type movie. This is number 11 out of 30. This one's called Night of Something Strange. I got number 1 out of 30. Next one is called Space Monster Wang Mogwai. Japanese creature feature black and white movie from the 60s. 1967. I barely snuck in. I got number 49 out of 50. This one's called Vampire Cop. I also have this one on Blu-ray too. Here's another Japanese movie. This one's called The Whale God. I got number 15 out of 50 on this one. It's another black and white from the 60s. Love Japanese cinema. And the last clamshell is called The Wizard of Gore. This is another Herschel Gordon Lewis movie. And I got number 23 out of 50. So we're gonna get into the big box editions now. These are really nice. These are very collectible. The clamshells and the big boxes are usually the ones that go for the most money. They're the most desired, the most collectible. So I have another Herschel Gordon Lewis movie here. This one's called 2000 Maniacs. I got number 65 out of 100. These movies are excellent. These are from Scream Team Releasing. This one's called The Barn. I really love this movie. This was a breath of fresh air to me because modern horror has been not the greatest. There have been some good ones, but this one really nailed it. This is fun. This is kind of an 80s throwback type of a vibe to it. If you haven't ever seen The Barn, if you've never seen The Barn, check it out. And then here's the sequel to it, The Barn 2. You can buy this on DVD or Blu-ray as well. You don't have to buy the VHS. So this next one anyway is a Grindhouse Releasing big box. This one's called The Beyond. It's a Fulci movie, of course. Here's another Herschel Gordon Lewis big box called Blood Feast. This one was limited to 100. I got number 92. Really glad to have these. Here's one I can't mention by name, although YouTube has been flagging every video that I release anyway. But you can read that yourself. every single time I upload a video, they flag it for the first 3 or 4 days, and then they let me monetize it. Not that it matters. I'm not doing this for money. I'm just doing this for a hobby. I just don't like being censored. That bothers me. Here's one called Chainsaw Killer. I could care less about the money from this channel. That's the truth. This is Chainsaw Killer. This one sold out, I believe. It's another shot on video movie that I got from SRS Cinema. I think it was limited to 50, but it doesn't say on the back. Unless they reprinted it, I'm not sure. Here's one called Church of the Damned. Here's another one from Grindhouse Releasing called I Drink Your Blood. Here's a movie that I helped to crowdfund. This is called House Shark. A movie from Ron Bonk over at Sub Rosa Studios. My name is in here somewhere. I don't care about that either. I like to contribute to these movies because I love this kind of stuff. There's a nice slasher movie. I love this movie. Pieces. It's a great cover too. You can see the puzzle piece there. This is a really nice idea for a cover. And the last one is Tourist Trap, which is another great movie. Starring Chuck Connors, who was the rifleman. And this is a big box, but it doesn't contain a VHS. It contains the Blu-ray and a figure from the movie of Mr. Slauson, who was played by Chuck Connors. This movie, if you like movies like Waxwork, House of Wax, I mean, and movies like that, this will be right up your alley. Like mannequins and puppets and dummies and stuff like that in a haunted house. So that was my VHS collection. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, I know these are not primo titles. There's some good stuff in here, but I'm pretty proud of the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff, the Friday the 13th stuff, Texas Chainsaw, but there's a lot of great classics and rare titles that I'm missing that I should own, but like I said, I don't really track them down anymore. If I see them, I'll grab them. There may be a couple that I do look for on eBay, but all in all, I'm pretty much done with VHS, I think. Unless, companies like SRS Cinema, I'll keep buying from them, and Scream Team Releasing has good stuff, I'll buy from them too. But as far as picking up like older titles like these, yeah, I'm not really gonna look for those anymore. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave any comments below if you have suggestions. Hopefully I gave you a couple suggestions too, and I just want to thank you for watching. I always appreciate it. Take care, and I'll see you next time. The girls wanted to say good night, and they want to thank you for watching too, and they said they'll see you guys next time.